Our guest today is Sushant Kalra. Welcome, Sushant. Thank you for joining us today for this interview. Before we start our conversation, let me introduce Sushant. Sushant is the founder of Parwarish, a Delhi-based institute of parenting. Parwarish works with parents and educators in creating a healthy environment for children at home and school. It helps parents in finding solutions to their day-to-day struggles. Parvarish also conducts workshops in many Delhi schools on sex education and prevention of child abuse. So today we are going to discuss the struggles of working parents and students during the pandemic. Most working parents are finding it hard to work remotely while still being present to kids, which is taking a toll on their careers as well as emotional health. What are your suggestions for stressed out parents, especially working mothers?
This whole stuff which is happening now for almost it's more than 4 months,
Okay.
and I think none of us, you, me, parents, teachers, anybody, businessmen, experts, doctors, researchers, we haven't seen this before. So this is like 7.5 billion people of the world fighting the third world war, and it's a war with an unknown enemy. We have no idea who the enemy is. Uh, we don't know how to fight the enemy. As you said, a small fever for a day knocks us out in terms of it should, God forbid, it's not Corona, and
Right.
it's not easy. So first thing we need to all realize is that we've never been in this space before. Be it a 2-year-old or a 90-year-old, we've never been in this space before. We have no idea how to react. I think it's the first time in our life where our physical survival, our pure basic survival, is is questioned. It's like we're looking at how this can be done. Like, do I will I survive tomorrow or not? It has never been so palpable right in our face before, which brings a lot of stress, emotional, mental, physical stress to us, and every one of us is in that stage. So the first advice to everybody would be to be okay with whatever you're going through. So if there is stress, if there is anxiety, if there is difficulty in doing whatever you have, uh, it's okay to be there. So it's okay to feel stressed. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel lonely. It's okay to feel tired, overwhelmed, helpless, whatever you're feeling right now. And you and your child, all of you are going through it. So it's tough times. We have no idea till when it's going to go, and we have no idea how it's going to show up in the end. So one thing is it's okay to be. There's no point fighting it out. The amount of energy each one of us is taking to build a strong faith that we need to be stronger, we need to be positive, we need to have a certain way in front of our children. My request would be just let that be. The best thing to do with your own children, with your family, would be to spend some time and talk about it. You, I, everybody is stressed. Everybody is going through a difficult phase. If we can, as a family, come together and talk to each other about what we are going through and make it normal, make it okay. I know it's not right. We don't want it, but letting yourself and also giving the space and the grace to your children also to share it out without making them wrong. So that will be my overall advice to everybody who's there, young adults, elders, uh, and and as I'm saying, it's fine. It's okay to be. Humans have not just gone through these type of stuff before. Uh, I was talking to a few teachers in Japan this week, and I was talking about that Hiroshima and Nagasaki being bombed, and lakhs of people in Japan dying. From there to being one of the most advanced country in the world, human beings have resilience beyond comparison, beyond thoughts. So each one of us will thrive, but give yourself the space and the grace to be.
Go easy and maybe, for the time being, just give up on the perfectionism and, be a little more realistic and radically realistic. So, my second question is for the teenagers. The current crisis has put many parents and teenagers in a tight spot. Teenagers value privacy and freedom, which has been taken away in the current crisis because of restricted movement, confined spaces. So, what do you have to say to the parents of teenagers? Because I think teenagers are really at the receiving end of this crisis.
If you ask me, not just teenagers, even young children are at the receiving end.
I know.
Bad at that receiving end because I think this is the first time every parent has had so much of time with their own children.
Right.
And as human minds work, and specifically parents' mind work, is like we think that we've got this time and we need to correct everything of our child. We should use this time to make them the best of the world. Give them this, give them that. They should be perfect. And in that whole thing, if you really notice, each one of us, each parents, each adult in the house is actually trying to give instructions to children every minute. So if you notice, and I would ask every parent to notice, how often do we go to our child's room and give them an instruction? Get up, don't sit like this, do some work, get off the screens, eat, go take a bath. And if you imagine, there are more adults in a household these days than children, right? There will be two children, there will be 3 to 4 to 5 adults around them. And every adult saying this frequently to them, what would a child go through? So whether it's a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old, they will be going through like a deluge of instructions all the time, what to do, what not to do. So, and on the flip side of it, I would say it's a time people, parents, children have been craving for. We always had this complaint pre-March that we don't have enough time with our children. And here is a time when you're forced to have time. So it's a great, great, great opportunity to spend this time with yourself and your children. Uh, One more thing which this pandemic has brought up is that, which I always tell parents, that whether you like it or not, or whether your children want it or not, but children and parents are the best friends. They are each other's confidant. What a parent can do for a child, nobody else in the world will do. What a child can do for their own parents, nobody in the world will do. So this relationship, which is completely selfless, completely focused on giving, this is a great opportunity. Like you being your child's confidant and your child being your confidant. You don't have friends to talk to. You don't have your coaches to talk to. Children don't have their friends to talk to. Online doesn't work the way human beings need that touch. Human beings need to meet. So it's a great opportunity for the parents and children to see this as an opportunity and say, okay, fine, this is a time when we can actually be so thick. And there is so much of a need right now. I need some emotional support. I need lots of emotional support. If I can take it from my children, if I can make that happen, if I can have that relationship where I can take that mental emotional support from my spouse, from my parents, from my children, and in turn provide that to them. Because children do not have the access to their friends. Online, they're doing online classes, sure, but those online classes are not classes. Children want to go to the school and have physical enjoyment. They want to have fun. They want to turn around. They want to play those pranks. They want to have those fun. They do that more in a school versus only sitting in a class and studying. So can I, as a parent, be that confidant? And can the child be a confidant? And I can tell you what, a 5-year-old can do that. If you want, I can give you an example. This is right now, not today's example. My son, who's 20 right now. This happened, I think, about 15 years back. My wife used to travel a lot that point of time, being out of India for about 2 months, 3 months. And after the first 3, 4 days of managing home, managing him, managing his school, managing my work, after 3, 4 days, I used to like be in the similar space which we are right now. That कुछ नहीं हो रहा, सारी responsibility हमारे ऊपर है. So I was on tender hooks. I would react. So there was one day when I reacted at him and then realized I shouldn't have. There was no fault of his. He must be also missing his mom. So I was taking him for a drive. I said, let's go out for a drive. And I was just talking to him and I just started blurting. I said, this is what happens when your mom goes make sure that everything is on time. You get up on time. Your tiffin is ready. After coming back from office, I want to make sure that you're happy. You take care of yourself. You're missing your mom. All that stuff. I started talking 15, 20 minutes non-stop. And I said that I don't have anybody to talk to. I need somebody to share it all with so that a person can understand and talk to me. That 5-year-old kid, I don't think he was 5 also at that time. He was less than 5. He turned around. He was sitting right there next to me in the car. He turned around to me and said, Papa, मेरे से बात करिए. And I was shocked. He said, here he is. He's going through the same space. Why can't he be the one? And my relationship with him altered that day. I said, that's simple. And that's exactly till 20, this is what is happening. I have a 14-year-old daughter. We have a similar relationship. She talks whatever she wants about her friends, what are they going through. I know about her friends' families more than anybody else. And similar thing for teenagers, as you said. The question is from teenagers. The teenagers, for them, if they are listening to this, it's like even your parents have gone through the same situation. They've gone through the same feelings. They've gone through the same situations. They also had the same crushes. They also had those same thoughts which you're having, which you're calling them wrong right now. They were also confused at their age. We were also didn't know what to do at our age. 13, 14 people used to ask us, what do you want to be? I had no idea. So even your parents have gone through it. Can you share with them? And can parents allow the children to really talk it out? Because you also went through it. It was not easy. Those times were not easy. That was the most difficult phase of our life. You were not a child, you were not an adult. You were somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So just share it out.
Yes.
Make your parent your best friend and let's have fun.
About the online classes, Sushant, online classes have multiplied the time a kid spends, in front of the screen.
On the screen, yeah.
Yeah, which is something unprecedented, because usually parents try to keep a tap on this. They try to restrict the screen time. Now suddenly it's like totally.
Get on the screen.
Yes, yes. So, what are the potential dangers of internet exposure for young children?
I don't want to scare people, right? But I still want to share the facts. So there are facts. We can't do anything about it.
Right.
If before even COVID happened, this was a pandemic in itself. WHO has it in its list of diseases.
Right.
World over, centers were open for de-addiction. It had already started, and this has in the last 4 months, I think it's tripled, quadrupled the time. So, and everybody's on screen, from a 2-year-old to a 90-year-old. So the damage of excessive screens is equal to the damage drugs have on your brain. So you're smoking cocaine or you're having excessive screens, it has the same impact on the brain. These are researchers talking, I'm not talking. Even the Harvard Medical School's research says that. So that damage is already there. Plus, the kind of hook it has, the way we are hooked onto drugs and anything else, this also has a hook. You can't get yourself away from it. It's so addictive that our hand goes there automatically, whether we like it or not. Even if there's no notification, we keep looking at it. So the damage is out there. But right now, there's no option. Do people will have to get online to teach? The answer is yes. But one thing which I don't know how this can help parents more, but what I wanted to say to teachers in schools is that we cannot replicate our offline classes to online classes. So the way we were in person, we would move around the class, we do all that stuff, that touch, that experience would be there. That's not there. We can't replicate that. And we have to see how we can best utilize. So online classes are great because children need some went out. They can't be without anything. So I wouldn't say we should remove online classes, but I would say, can we redesign our online classes? Can children, even in our online classes, spend more time in activity, in doing something versus being online and chatting? So teacher speaking and teacher being on a whiteboard or doing it on a screen and saying, okay, this is how, and explaining concepts won't work. After a while, if you even ask me, half the children switch off their audios, and I don't even know whether they're there or not. So really making these sessions have to be highly interactive where children are in action, Sitting in front of the laptop, sitting on the chair will not work for long. And it is more damaging. So can we redesign our classroom so that children are in action? So rather than the teacher doing most of the work, can we have children get into work? So they're doing their certain discussions, they're doing some research, they're coming back, they're doing some activities. And every subject can be taught like that. But for that, we need to increase the creativity at the teacher's end and the school's end. So that is something we really need to look at it, because this is going to go for long. That is one way we need to look at it. The other thing is, as a parent and as a child, we need to get into a space where online classes are, say, we can say almost mandatory. But can we look at moving away from screens for our extracurricular or the other world? So we playing games on the screen, we are socializing on the screen. So can we see if we can reduce that amount? Can we look at other stuff? Like if you ask me, when I was a child, 35, 40 years back, there was no screens, there was no TV. So we were in the streets, we were on our house, we would be on the terrace, we would do stuff, we would play stuff with something which didn't even exist, we didn't even have the resource. But we made our own games. Are those games still available? Yes. So can we get to that? Can parents, children, grandparents only know those games, by the way. Can we get to our grandparents? And that will be a great space. They're also getting bored.
Right.
So can we move away from screen post school? So one, the school needs to change the class. That's what I was talking about earlier. But post school, can we get off screens? Can we get into reading? Can we get to books? So there are a lot of stuff available. We as parents and children can come together and really find out ways which will be really enjoyable, real fun, sans the screen.
Right.
And we've been doing these programs, Harsha, for parents and children. Like, really, how do you utilize this? How can you actually take away screens for anything else? Something which is mandatory is mandatory. But beyond that, can we move away? The answer is yes.
My next question is, do you think these online classes, have taken away our priority from something more important, the well-being of our children? Because instead of worrying about our children, we are worrying about, children falling behind academically. So do you think there's a need to shift our mentality, especially for the early graders?
Sure, Harsha. I think the biggest issue with parents has been is that the whole issue of getting children engaged.
Right.
So online classes at least has given that space for a parent to get the child off to those few hours, whether
Right.
he's in class 1 or class 2, in class 3. So, and parents need that break, by the way. So I'm not saying that children should go into those classes, but I'm saying parents do need that break. 3 hours of the child going off and somebody else taking care of gives a lot of relief. Having said that, if you ask me, should children be there on screens at that young age? The answer is absolutely no. Um, can they do something better? The answer is yes. And as I said, it's not a parent's responsibility to entertain their child. It's not. Somewhere we all in the last few years have made it at, like, it's very easy for a child to come to a parent and says, "Dad, I'm bored. Mom, I'm bored." And then the mom and dad suddenly have to do something or the other to make sure that they're not bored. So my whole appeal to every parent, that's not your job.
You mentioned something very important, that it's not always a parent's job to look after their entertainment. Sometimes, kids need to do all that. How can they start that?
It's not as difficult as it sounds, by the way. We think boredom is wrong. We think our children are getting bored is bad. First, we have to change this mindset. Boredom is great. Boredom is the only time any creativity happens. Boredom is the only time when your mind is free to think. If we keep doing something or the other, our mind is not thinking. So when the child says boredom, say, "Oh wow, it's a great time. Now you can think of new things. You can create new things." And by the way, every child, a 2-year-old to a 20-year-old, can create far more creative stuff for themselves than you can even think of. So stop thinking of it as a bad thing. Stop thinking it's my job now to fill up this time. When a child walks in and says, I'm bored, tell them, wow, man, great. Now utilize your brains to think creatively and create games. I can tell you, we were sitting on the dining table a few days back, and on Rakhi, somebody gave us a box of toffees. So there was a glass kept on the dining table after we had that dinner. So I just started to pop in one of these, tried to throw that toffee into the glass. 5 minutes later, six of us, including my mom, 76-year-old mom, were playing that game. Everybody got 5 chances, and we were popping. And how many toffees can you pop in the glass?
I know.
It's like empty mind doing something or the other.
Yeah.
And this needs to be done, and children can do this far better. Yeah. We used to play cricket at school with what? We used to crumble a paper, and we used to play hand cricket with it, right?
Right.
We used to put a rubber bands together and make a rubber ball.
Right.
All of that is available. You don't need anything for it. You don't need any connectivity. You don't need anything for it.
I completely agree.
You can play it. You can play it all.
Right.
So ask your children to go hunt, go think. They don't have to be involved in a household chore to keep themselves busy. No, household chores are fine. But can I really enjoy myself? Can I play the game? Can I do anything? Can I paint? I said, give your children a wall of the house. And I'm literally saying, give the wall of the house and say, okay, go paint. It doesn't have to look great. You will preserve that wall. Give it to them. Let them paint it up. How does it matter? There's tons of stuff to do. Like give them stuff and say, okay, break them, make them, do whatever you want to do with them. It doesn't have to be structured at all. It has to be unstructured. Like play it out.
Right.
Yeah, they're in a room. I'm just giving you ideas. They're just flowing with it. They're in a room, right? Can they restructure the room? They want the bed a different way. They want the chair a different way. They want to do this way. They want to do something on the wall. So be it. They want to paint their t-shirts. Let them paint their t-shirts. Yeah. Let them do something or the other with them.
Yes.
Let them say, okay, we'll have a party today, and how do we have our dinner today? Okay, let's do a buffet today. Ask the children to lay down the buffet. Let's go have dinner on the terrace. So take tons of ideas, tons of ways, whatever. So I'm saying, so these ideas will only come when you have an empty mind.
Right. You need to structure it, let them get bored a bit and they'll come up with new ideas over it. It won't happen overnight, but definitely it will come slowly if you give them the space. Let them get it.
One of the tips I want to give to all the parents, okay? I'm assuming that parents who will be listening to us will be, if not my age, at least 10 years younger to me, 40. What do you used to do in your, if I ask you, what were you doing in your summer vacation?
I would read, I would sometimes paint, or just chat with a friend, or go out for playing, and we would play lot of silly games.
How much time would you spend in your nanny's place, your
a lot.
maternal grandma?
The terrace. Nobody used to tell us play this, do this. We were so good at it. We'd experiment. So I guess nobody ever told us.
I remember, I used to go to my nanny's place, and it used to be so hot. We couldn't do anything out. We was like the entire day we had to be in the house. There was no ACs. At that time, there used to be a power cut in that area for 8 hours a day. 8 hours during peak summer, June, and it's power cut. We can't do anything about it. And we are doing nothing. By the way, if I ask this question to parents, what were you doing during your summer vacation? The answer is nothing. We actually didn't do anything. We got up in the morning, we did nothing. Then we had our lunch, then we did nothing. But we were enjoying doing nothing. It used to be, चल ये गेम खेलते हैं, चलो आज ये बनाते हैं, आज चलो पेपर से कुछ बना लेते हैं, कुछ और कर लेते हैं, कुछ एक दूसरे को पेपर से मारते हैं. मतलब things don't happen yet. Why can't we go back to the same days? It's simple. So why I wanted to say it as a tip, because you've done it. Right. I'm saying every parent who will be 40 in that range would have done this. So there's no rocket science here.
So how can parents best help their children in managing their emotional and mental health during the pandemic? Some of the tips, also for the parents, who are very stressed out, a few tips.
What I was saying earlier also, that the whole idea is to first be okay with what you're going through. So before being okay, first thing is we need to first get present to what are we going through. If you go onto the net, you will find a lot of feeling faces. So start identifying your own feelings and articulating. You're feeling angry, you're feeling agitated, you're feeling down, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling tired, you're feeling helpless. There are tons of feelings you're going through. So start articulating it for yourself. Help each other in articulating those feelings. And then sit down together to communicate. And when you're communicating, do not advise. The biggest problem we have, which we've been trained for all our life, is don't think low, don't think bad, only think positive, be strong. So, by projecting yourself to be strong, you're actually becoming weak because it's taking a lot of your mental, emotional energy to do that. The biggest paradox of life is, I'm saying it's the biggest paradox. My request is that people can understand it. The biggest paradox of life is when you become vulnerable, that is when you become strong. I don't have to hide. I can be open and say, okay, fine, I'm feeling low right now. I want to cry out. And if I have the courage to cry out in front of my family, in front of my own children, and telling them, boss, I'm going through a tough time, it is not easy. It gives you tons of strength. And what you're doing is you're creating a space for others in the family to share that out because everybody is going through. So even they know that it's okay to be low, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad. And your parents can do that for yourself. So you can do it with your own parents. So the only way out for your mental emotional peace is to be vulnerable, and being vulnerable with your own family will bring that connect which I was talking about. So give yourself the space, give them the space. You don't have to be a strong parent. You're strong. So show your strength by being vulnerable.
Thank you, Sushant. Thank you for taking out time to answer our questions. I hope all parents, teacher watching us enjoyed this.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you, Sushant. Thank you.